Well, the Mono County District Attorney's Office has found there was not a misappropriation of public funds of the Mono County Office of Education. Now, on January 18th, 2018, a complaint was lodged with the Office of the Mono County District Attorney against Dr. Stacy Adler, Superintendent of the Mono County Office of Education. Now, the criminal nature of the complaint alleges that Dr. Adler was misappropriating public funds by paying out stipends to individual employees without approval from the Mono County Office of Education Board. Now, the press release from the Mono DA's office says the complaint was rejected for filing based on a finding that there was no criminal conduct of misappropriation of public funds. Now, through an investigation into the matter, it was factually determined that the specific stipends that were alleged in the complaint were given to certain employees in exchange for additional work that they had performed, which fell outside of their normal job responsibilities. Now, in 2013, the Mono County Office of Education was requested to assist on several outside projects and entered into a contract to assist those agencies with the work. Now, as a result of these contracts, additional work responsibilities given to several individuals. Work is still ongoing. Now, it was found that all the work was documented and approved by the superintendent and that funds were specifically set aside within the contracts to pay these individuals for that work. Dr. Adler also performed work pursuant to those contracts. Now, finally, it was determined that the Mono County Office of Education Board, as well as the Mono County Office of Education, do not have any policies or procedures that address stipends, bonus, or other payment types, which would have either governed the process or limited the superintendent's authority to issue stipends. However, there is some indication that the board was aware that stipends may be given for this additional work based on a prior board meeting in which the discussion of stipends for this work was on the board's agenda for informational purposes only. Now, the press release says the minutes show that documents were given to the board and a discussion with the superintendent took place regarding the issuance of stipends for work performed under those contracts. Now, absent any policies, the Office of Mono County District Attorney looked into the statutory codes, guidelines, and legislative intent under the codes and has concluded that under Section 1302 of the Education Code, Dr. Adler was within her statutory authority to issue this type of stipends and did so within the limits that the codes allow. Without any policies in place, the only limits on the superintendent's authority is that a superintendent cannot give more than $10,000 to any one individual per year without board approval. Now, this never occurred. Further, a superintendent cannot give oneself a salary increase without board approval, and the press release notes this did not occur because a stipend is not a salary increase. Records show that all past increases to Dr. Adler's salary have been board approved. Now, one additional point: for an act to be criminal, there must be criminal intent involved. Now, since the stipends were given to individual employees in exchange for additional work that they had performed, there was no such filing. And again, the complaint was rejected for filing based on a finding that there was no criminal conduct of misappropriation of public funds. Well, Rusty Gregory has been appointed Chief Executive Officer of the Alterra Mountain Company. Rusty Gregory is an investor in the company and has been a member of the board of directors since the company's inception of August of last year. Rusty Gregory, described as an experienced travel industry executive and proven mountain resort innovator in a press release. Rusty's career in the ski industry spans 40 years, starting as a lift operator at Mammoth Mountain, where he rose through the ranks to become an owner and the company's chairman and CEO for over 20 years. Rusty will focus on establishing the newly formed Alterra Mountain Company's culture and developing the growth, operating, and guest services strategies for its platform of mountain destinations across North America, and while leading its more than 20,000 employees. Rusty Gregory said, quote, "I'm thrilled to be leading the Alterra Mountain Company team in its formative years at such a pivotal time in the mountain destination industry. This is truly the opportunity of a lifetime to work with so many highly respected industry leaders and some of the most iconic mountain destinations in North America." Gregory continued, "Together we will create a highly performing enterprise by focusing on what's important: our guests, our employees, and our mountain communities. We will build business by enhancing and enriching the lives and experiences of each." Gregory has experience in all facets of the ski industry and resort business, including time spent, as we noted, lift operator, also equipment operator, lift maintenance and construction supervisor, ski instructor, and heli ski guide, as well as director of human resources and chief administrative officer. Rusty founded and operated Mammoth Heliski in the 1980s and Mammoth Land Development Company in the 1990s and became an owner of Mammoth Mountain Ski Area in 1996. Press release notes he engineered 3 sales of the company, increasing his ownership stake with each transaction. That full press release is posted on SierraWave.net. Well, Deb Murphy filed this report with small but more restrictive changes. The Inyo County Board of Supervisors approved the draft short-term ordinance that was presented at Tuesday's Inyo County Board of Supervisors meeting. Now, the primary change, limiting potential permits to 1 parcel per owner, came to assuage Supervisor Jeff Grissa's concern that investors in short-term rental units would seriously muck up an already tough housing shortage issue in the unincorporated area around Bishop. Now, as originally written, the ordinance would have allowed for homeowners to apply for short-term rental permits on 2 parcels with a limit of 1 hosted and 1 non-hosted permit. Planning Department's definition of hosted is the owner would be under the same roof as the short-term renter, not simply living on the same parcel. Now, as rewritten, 1 owner resident could host a guest room in the primary residence and provide a non-hosted granny flat rental on the same parcel. Now, Inyo County Planning Director Kathleen Richards described the process as a balancing act between neighbor concerns and an individual's property rights, plus the fact approximately 50 short-term rental operations are currently operating illegally throughout Inyo County. Inyo Supervisor Matt Kingsley compared the board's approach to short-term rentals similar to its approach to cannabis operations. Start small and see how the market shakes out. Inyo supervisors scheduled to enact the ordinance at next Tuesday's meeting. In other board action, the board agreed to get an extension until the end of the year on Great Basin Unified Air Pollution Control District grant funding originally earmarked for the Big Pine, or for the Veterans Path in Big Pine, and add the possibility of using the funds to pave the parking lot at Lone Pines VFW post if an agreement with the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power on the Big Pine project could not be reached in time. Now, Deb Murphy also filed a story noting that with a March deadline to get on the June ballot, the Owens Valley Unified School District Board should be making its decision on a $5 million general obligation at its February 22nd meeting. Now, the district introduced that possibility late last year, starting a community outreach program and hosting a campus tour in early January. The district contracted with Alameda Architecture to do an assessment of the 70-year-old campus's needs, of which there were quite a few in terms of upgrades, modernization, and Americans with Disabilities Act compliance issues. Now, said Superintendent Principal Dan Moore, we're not building anything new, we're just fixing what we've got. Plumbing, wiring, windows, light fixtures, you name it. Deb Murphy says the Owens Valley Unified School District needs it replaced. Now, one recommendation was a solar array with a cost of a little more than $1 million, but coming with lower operating costs for the district. Both of Deb Murphy's full reports are posted on our website, SierraWave.net. Well, former Bishop Police Chief Bruce DeShawn has died. He was 69. Bruce DeShawn moved to Bishop in his high school years, graduated from Bishop Union High School in 1966, married his wife Sherry DeShawn in 1967, and they were married for 51 years, raised 3 children, Destin, Shane, and Stacy. Bruce DeShawn joined the Bishop Police Department October 1st, 1972, worked his way through the ranks and became the Chief of Police 1996. He retired in 2002 after a 30-year career with the Bishop Police Department. Mr. DeShawn loved to hunt and fish, but was most proud of his grandchildren and all of their achievements. Funeral services are set for Friday, February 9th, 11 a.m. Church of the Nazarene in Bishop. There will be a celebration of life following the services at the Eastern Sierra Tri-County Fairgrounds for Bruce DeShawn.